What's good, guys? LM7 here with another comparison. We're continuing on with the summer 2016 sets, and we are going to actually do the second half of set 75-150, Vader's TIE Advance versus A-Wing. We have already looked at the old A-Wing. Now we're going to look at Darth Vader's TIE Advanced. Excuse me, had a sneeze coming. Gotta try and prevent that from happening. Anyway, so some quick details about each of these sets. The old Darth Vader's TIE Advanced Fighter, or whatever you want. I'm going to say TIE Fighter because it's less words. So, the old one is 250 pieces or 48 pieces, something like that. Is around 250 and was $29.99, sold individually. And the new one, it has 403 pieces, I counted it out, and would be approximately $39.99. So, more pieces, a higher price overall. That's if you split the set in half. But personally, I don't think the A-Wing in the new set is worth $40 on its own. So, anyway, that being said, let's take a look at some of the basic things that we can see here just from looking at it. Alright, so just by looking at it, you can see that the colors are slightly different. Granted, the older one is from the movies and the newer one is more Rebel-based. It really shouldn't have a huge impact because obviously it's still Darth Vader's TIE Fighter in the end. But you can see around the minifigure chamber where you put Darth Vader, the newer one is all lighter gray with some dark gray accents and black, where the older one is majority of it is dark gray with some light gray accents and black as well. So that is a small difference. Now, you can also tell that the pieces are changed here in the front section. I'm talking about the glass. They're both printed the same, basically. The newer one has slightly updated printing thing because the piece is different, but that goes to show you that they've actually taken the time to redo pieces. So why don't we take a quick look at the front of the older one. So here's just a little look. It uses this huge bulky actual brick piece that was used forever before they decided to change it into just round parabolas with a clip on the side. So that is nice that they updated it. And you can see there's two red studs there. That's kind of important because that also has been updated slightly. God, I am going to sneeze and it's going to be stupid loud. Anyway, it is now not a bulky piece at all. Like I said, it's a single piece, pretty much flat and takes up the least amount of space possible. And those red studs that I was just talking about on the last set are now replaced with spring-loaded shooters, but they still give the same effect. And that's always nice. Now, just looking at some of the top detail, like right here, this obviously opens as well. And overall, this is now a bigger piece compared to the last one, which was one of these 4x4 dishes. And it did not open. In the old set, the entire section opens instead of two different opening hatches. Now, looking onto this little section right here, like the heavier armor, in the older set you can see there's a stud here that's actually a flick fire missile. That's been replaced completely, and now it just looks more sleeker and actually constructed instead of random studs everywhere. There's not as many studs shaped together. I like this section a lot more on the newer one. I'm really glad that they redid the central sphere section differently than the older one. Not that the older one was bad, it's just that set came out in 2009, so it was just time for an update, is all. And basically, that's what they did. And they did a great job at an upgrade. So, before I keep praising it, let's just show a couple more of the differences. Now, looking onto this section right here, here's a huge major difference. Especially this piece right here. That's all one single piece. If you have any of the droid gunships, you know they use 4 of them to make the back section. Well, that's the same piece used here, but now in the newer one, they do not use that big piece. They use the piece one step down. So it is a little smaller, actually, than the older one. If I can get it to stand like this, that'd be great. I think I can get them both to stand like that. Yes, I can. So, this is what I wanted to show you. I just had no idea if I could get them both to stand vertical. But looking at them this way, you can see how much bigger the older set is compared to the newer one. And even width-wise, you can tell that there's a difference. And that's the majority based on, I can't say that word to save my life today, but it is based on those round pieces in the back section, along with more plates and bricks for the older one instead of the technical way they connected everything in the newer one, which I will say it was a great build, actually. The newer one is super fun to build, and they use all kinds of weird little intricate Technic things and plates, and it was fun. If you buy the set, you'll know what I'm talking about. That's probably the best part about the new fighter anyway. But anyway, this is a good vantage point that you can see right here. This is shortened, and some of the detail has been replaced by sticker detail instead. But they still have the classic, here's dark gray here, and they keep that same thing here. It's just these pieces are much bigger, like I keep saying, and they're light gray. So you see more light gray instead of the darker gray on the top. And then right here, this little section here is how you shoot the flick fire missiles. So that's why that section is there, and that is no longer needed on the newer one. As you can see right there, it's no longer needed, but instead you push right here to shoot the spring-loaded shooters right behind here. So they condensed the shooting mechanism. That sneeze is going to be crazy. I'm going to hopefully try and, I keep saying it, not sneeze in the video, but is like right at the tip of my nose. And I don't know what it's from. Anyway, instead of talking about my personal health, looking more here again, the newer one you can see has a little red detailing here, and then the older one does not have that. And that's just more so for nice little details, and it's probably more Rebels based than actual movie. It's hard to tell. We don't really see Darth Vader's TIE Fighter like in depth for super long periods of time in the movies anyway. But okay, I'm going to flip this over now so we can actually see the undersides, see if they're crazy different. And looking at them, not really. This big piece here is actually used on the older one, but the whole section is bigger due to the bulkiness of the glass piece used at the top. And then it's connected by 2 1x4 plates. The other one just uses that as the bottom anyway, so you don't need any of that. And like I said, the guns here are replaced by the spring-loaded shooters, which go down to, right about there. And there's a little hole right there, which isn't there, but as you can see, the big round quarter circle bricks take up the majority of the bottom here, and they don't really do anything under them. So that it's just actual bottom, where this one uses a bigger type of rounded plate instead. But you can also see that Darth Vader's lightsaber is stored right there, and that's my only complaint about the newer one. It doesn't have a storage mechanism for the lightsaber, and that's one of my kind of pet peeves, is I would like there to be a clip or something simple like that. Like, that's not even complicated at all. You just put one piece to clip the lightsaber just so I don't lose it. But can't have everything, and I'm okay with that. So, moving on to the wing section, I'm actually going to take the wings off, well, a singular wing I'm going to take off from each of the ships, if I can. Just to show those, because those are kind of important. And before I do that, I'll show how they're connected, because that was actually asked for in other videos. So, old Darth Vader's TIE Fighter, it uses 2 Technic pegs to hold it together alongside of this huge bulky piece right here, which has 9 Technic slots available. Whereas the newer one uses 1 cross axle that's connected deep into the body section here, so it will never fall out, along with this Technic peg on the back of a 2x2 square plate. And that's how they're connected. So overall, I think the newer one is much stronger when it comes to the wing stability, because the older one does fall apart sometimes. So, unfolding the wing, this is what the older model looks like. It's basically an awkward shaped octagon, which is a nice shape. And then if we look at the newer one, it's also an octagon, but much differently shaped. So I'll try and hold them together. Sometimes it's kind of hard to do so, but here's the newer one, here's the older one. They both use the same sticker detail on the wings, just this one uses a round plate, and this one uses a square plate, or tile, I meant to say, excuse me. And you can see some of the minor differences in, you know, this one's more plate-based with tiles all around it, where this one has no tiles on it, and is, you know, more so meant to keep the distinctive shape, where the other one doesn't actually bend as much. But putting them, let's see, I can't really lean them together, but holding them like this, you can see, oh, you can't see because it's not zoomed, there you go. You can see that the newer one is much wider, and the older one is a little bit taller. Well, it's taller based on this. It's actually longer if you face it the way the wing should be. And again, that's due to the fact of the size of each of the ships. Personally, I like the size of the newer one as it suits it more. And just the overall upgrade of the wings just looks very nice. Now, the older one, the older model does not have this either. These plates right here prevent the wings from bending any further and breaking. I just wanted to show that real quick. And then we simply take our Technic pin and connect it like so. And then it's just the same for the other set. But it doesn't have that same stopping mechanism, so they can possibly overextend and break, which is common for this set anyway. At least in my opinion, it's common. So, and they are not centered, and it's going to bother me, because my centered is not your centered. Anyway, what I was saying in the kind of the middle section there was Darth Vader's TIE Fighter needed an improvement, and it definitely got one. Granted, the set is a little expensive. The overall improvements made are fantastic. You could argue, oh, but the older one is bigger. Well, that's not always better. And this one, the newer one, is just blows it out of the water. It's way better. Even though it's like an inch or two, like maybe half an inch or a full inch shorter, that doesn't really matter. Personally, the look of the newer one is just way better, in my opinion. Now, some people were also wondering, and I decided to throw it into this because why not? Some people were also wondering about the TIE prototype that came out a couple years ago as well. So I figured I'd throw that in there too. And that here is the TIE Advanced prototype compared to the new TIE Advanced. See, I'm telling you, if I just say TIE Fighter, there'll be less words and I won't mix them up. But anyway, the central sphere is very similarly constructed. There's very slight differences between that. Basically, they took this model, upgraded it into Darth Vader's, and slapped it right there. Like they added the back section made the wings longer, changed the color scheme a little bit, and said, hey, we got another set. And what I mean is if I fold the wings and we shape it like we did the other TIE fighters, there we go, just like that. Just like I was saying, the central sphere is basically the same. They removed the spring-loaded shooter feature here. They changed it to just to push the Technic beam instead of the little twisty mechanism. If you watch the review of that, you'll know what I'm talking about, or if you own the set. But they kept the spring-loaded shooters. They just moved them over, even in the same spot and everything. Changed the mechanism, but like I said, they added a back section. As you can see here, they added the back section, and then they obviously redesigned the wings because the actual TIE Advance X1 is different than the prototype. But it's fun to say that both of these ships are from the Rebels TV series, and they go together pretty nicely. So they're starting to make some good sets out of the Rebels TV show, and I'm pretty happy about that. I mean, I haven't watched Rebels like I've said multiple times, but the set's coming out of it. I'm glad that they are actually making some. So just wanted to show that quick thing, comparing them together. We'll just do this real quick. You can see the prototype is a little wider, and that's just because of the way the wings are built on this one compared to the newer one. But that was just my little additional snippet because some people wanted to see that. They're very different sets, I'll have to say, the prototype and the new one. But so it's hard to like say which one do you like better. I like Darth Vader's ship better anyway. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm talking about the two Vader TIE fighters that are supposed to be the same ship. So that's it for this comparison. Next, we're going to move on to the probably highly anticipated turbo tank. We're going to see the comparison and differences to that. And then we'll move on to the ATTE. And then we should be done. And then we'll continue on with live. Continue on with our lives. I was going to say something different. Forgot a word. Ended up sounding stupid. The normal. Anyway, thanks for watching. And like I said, stick around for the other comparisons if you're interested. And I will see you guys later.